Skelesteve.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the Skelesteve channel. I'm your host, Skelesteve. What's up, everybody? So this is part 2 of California 1. Then my last video came out last week at Tuesday. So check it out right here. So anyways, this one I was going to talk about, not the scenery so much, because I've tooted California 1s and other coastal highway videos, horns way too much. So I'm just going to talk about things that happened that were weird on the coast, west coast and the west part of the United States. So during this trip, I didn't really dealt with weird moments before I got to Oregon, Washington area. It was just more of like, things of like nature, like, me getting rained on and getting whipped around and just stuff like that. Nothing like big. It was just, just a normal trip, having fun. But the weirdness started, what do I want to say? And this is not just weird things, more oddball things, not just like completely like out there strange, just like, just weird. Because when I don't have like a lot of like weird moments. I'm a weirdo, but I don't have like a lot of weird moments that happen to me. It's just it happens here and there. Like once in a while it'll happen. Like something strange will happen. So let's start. And I went to Washington, and I stopped in Ellerberg the first night, and the second day I went to go see my friends in Seattle. My friends Brad and Crystal. Well, they live in Renton at the time, and I went there, and I was going to stay there for 2 nights. The first night, we were going to go to Seattle, downtown Seattle, to have a few drinks. And she wanted to go to downtown Seattle because she knows, like, back in the day, we used to go to downtown Detroit and have fun. So we like going to the city and stuff like that. So to have some drinks. So we went down there, went to a couple places. The first weird thing that happened. Now this happens to me a lot because of my tattoos. It's Gambit's throwing cards that are on fire. Ever watch X-Men or read the comics? Gambit, he has the ability to turn things into like fire and they explode. And and his cards, he always has a 52 deck card because he's a poker player. He's a gambler, and he'll like grab a card, throw it, and then it'll catch on to something. It'll catch on fire and blow up. So I have these tattoos right here, and we're at one of the bars, and we're at a table, and the waitress comes out. She's like, "Excuse me, are you bleeding on my table?" I was like, "No, these are tattoos." And she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you were bleeding." I'm like, "Well, it's not the first time I've gotten weird compliments about these tattoos. People thought I had a burn on them. And I was doing a welding class. Somebody thought I burnt myself on a hot metal. Just someone thought I had like some sort of disease. So trust me, look far away. Don't look close enough. You'll think it's something." Anyways, so we went to a couple bars, and then we went to this bar. Crystal wanted to go here, and I mentioned it in one of my previous videos when I talked about my trip. It's called the Unicorn, and as you can tell by the name, it's a gay bar.
Ha! Gay!
So I was maybe. She was, well, they have arcades and pinball there. I'm like, okay, I'll go. That's fine, whatever. So we went there, and we went to the bar, got some drinks, and then all of a sudden I hear a "excuse me," and I turned around, and there's this guy, and he goes, have you ever heard of stoner rock? I'm like, what? And this was like kind of like out of left field, and I'm like, yes. Like, he's like, yeah, you've heard of stoner rock? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I was like, I don't know, it's like a weird, like kind of like today's version of psychedelic. I don't know, it's like I can't really describe it. I can only describe the bands, like 311. I would consider them stoner rock, and the Dirty Heads, and who else was there? Who else I was thinking of? Like I consider kind of like the Red Hot Chili Peppers of stoner rock, I guess. And I was like, and Mastodon, and I was wearing a Mastodon shirt. He goes, exactly, because I looked up that band you had on your shirt, and I was curious about him. There was I looked up Mastodon. One of the genres they do is stoner rock, so I was quite curious about it. And he's like, oh, he was very intrigued, and I thought it was weird, and my friends were kind of snickering. They told me this guy was hitting on me, which I don't know if that's true or not. I think there might have been messing with me, but like I said, he could have been just friendly, or he could have just been a music lover and saw my shirt, or he could have been just testing me, see if I know about the band shirt I'm wearing, because some people like to do that. They think you're posers, but anyways, um, yeah, I was like, and I was kind of like, I kind of had that feeling, but I'm like also naive, and I'm like, I don't know, so like, I kind of like brushed it off, and I like, talked to him about it, and like he asked for other band recommendations, and I like ended it, and I'm like, I kind of ended the conversation, like I made it like, if he was interested, no, I'm not interested, so that sort of thing, and then Crystal ended up hanging out with them, so like when I had conversation with them, Crystal ended up hanging out with them, they ended up getting drinks, so it kind of worked out, and like I said, I didn't know if he was or not, I don't care. It's whatever. I shut it down. It's not like he continued on with it or anything like that. But I know some guys were like, "Well, if a gay guy hit on me, I'll beat his ass." It's like, no, because he wasn't physical. He wasn't aggressive. No, I'm not going to. He's nice. He was okay. I brushed it off. Whatever. And I know it's weird for me because I've never been hit on by a guy, and I don't know why anybody would hit on me. I'm fucking ugly, and you don't have standards, so you know sorry, man, if you're hearing this, but if you were, and I hope you weren't, you need to raise your standards a little bit. I'm not a good looking dude. That's why I wear this skull mask, because I'm friggin' hideous. So yeah. And the one thing that was really weird, I noticed when he walked away, he had fishnets on. I'm like, okay, time to go downstairs and play some arcades. So that's what we did. And so that was a little bit weird for me, like nothing I'm used to. Like I said, I live a pretty boring life like everybody else. But anyways, back onto the next part was when we went to hiking and camping. This was kind of weird, but it kind of wasn't. It was kind of more scary for some people. So when we went hiking and camping, I would say this, I'm gonna throw this one into. We kind of saw like I wouldn't say like it was like a landslide. It was like a rock falling kind of thing, like they were saying it was avalanche on the other side. So we're walking, we're on one side of the mountain. The other side of the mountain, there was like, it was on another side of this river, there was rocks sliding down the mountain, and it was like you could hear, like it sounded like a big thunder, and it was like a big crack, and all of a sudden you started seeing these rock and snow just slide down the mountain. And I don't know if it was, I'm gonna upload that video on here in my channel. I'm gonna rebuttal to this, but let me know what you think. I thought it was pretty cool. It was, I never uploaded it. I think I've uploaded to Facebook and that's it, but it was a pretty cool thing to see. So anyways, yeah, so we saw that. Then I realized, I every day on this trip, almost every day, I always call my family, my mom, make sure I'm all right, telling mom I'm all right. And then when we went hiking and camping, I forgot. I'm like, crap, I gotta call somebody because I'm not gonna have any service. So I looked at my phone, no service. Tried to text, tried to message people, nothing. So I'm like, okay. I sent my brother a text as like, hey, if you get this, I have no service. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow morning. Well, next day, next morning after we were camping, we like hiked back down. We got in our car, we left, and I got into service area, and also my phone blew up with voicemails, text messages, Facebook messages. Everyone's freaking out, wondering where the hell I am. And everybody's like freaking out, and I had to call them, tell them I'm alright. They like, I had my brothers messaged me, my mom messaged me, they got my friends messaged me, then they messaged Crystal too, like a couple of mine and Crystal's mutual friends. So it was just all kind of chaotic. I had to tell everybody, no, I'm alright, I'm alive. No, there's no, I'm not dead. I'm not off the side of a cliff. I'm not in some dude's basement. I'm not hanging by my arms with my guts hanging off. Fishnet has not killed me. Okay, that part. That was a little bit bad right there. Sorry, fishnets. Anyways, so yeah, I'm gonna take a break here. I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. So let's get back to it. I didn't deal with too much weirdness, and when I left there, like probably Oregon, I was dealing with that motel I stayed at Newport where they didn't have any towels. Like, who the hell doesn't have towels? I'm still pissed about that, as you can tell. And then just that whole situation, like that old guy that was bothering me about Michigan, stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I consider that weird. I was just, I don't know, that's kind of normal. But anyways, I get to California, and a little bit of weirdness started happening. I think right around this road too. So I went to go fill up for gas, and I went to this place. Like, I was about to run out of gas too, and I was kind of scrambling, so I hurried up and I went to a couple places there, so they were out of gas, which is weird. But then I went to one, and it was like two pumps there, and they were the old-fashioned dial pumps, like a dial the numbers for the amount of gas you use and the price. So I pulled up to it, and I was like, shows my age. I never used one of these before. So I asked this guy that was walking by, like he was walking right by in front of me, and I go, excuse me. I was like, do you have to pay inside, or can you pay out here? Because there's no like credit card machine, nothing. I'm like, he goes to me, no hablo inglés, no hablo inglés. And he looked at me, he points at me, he goes, hablo español, hablo español. I'm like, no, I'm American. And I said, I was like, my family's from blah blah blah. I said the country of origin we're from, and he goes, oh, and he walked away with a concerned look on his face. I'm like, wow. I was like, well, I guess my ethnicity's really down there at the bottom of the total pole. Well, that makes me feel like crap, so I'm just gonna go inside and find out, like I should have in the first place. So I went inside, and as I walk in there, there's a guy talking to the cashier, and he's like just all eccentric. He's like, yeah, this is the greatest day of our lives. We're so happy. We're waiting for this day of our lives. This is great. I'm very happy for this. It's like, we've been waiting a long time, and we finally got married. And it's these two guys. I'm like, and then this guy's just like over eccentric talking about it, and all of a sudden he goes, oh, do you want to go? I was like, no, man, I'm waiting for you. He goes, no, I'm done. I'd already cashed out. I just was telling her our story. I'm like, okay. So I go in, and I asked her the question, and obviously the question was pay inside, then go out there and pump. I don't know why I made a big deal of this. Anyways, the guy's like, hey, is that your bike out there? I'm like, yep. He goes, wow. He goes, there's a lot of stuff on the back. He's like, wow, you're on a big road trip, aren't you? Where are you coming from? I'm like, Michigan. He goes, wow, you came all the way to Michigan on that bike? Man, that must be fun. He goes, that's awesome. He's like, we're on a road trip right now for our honeymoon. Nothing big like that. He goes, I was like, oh, yeah, cool. He goes, by the way, my name is blah, blah, blah. And this is blah, blah. We got married today. We're very happy. I'm like, cool. That's great, man. Awesome. He goes, yeah, we're very excited. It was the greatest day. I'm like, man, that's awesome. Congratulations on your wedding, on your new life. Cool. I was like, all right, have a good one. He's like, yeah, you too. And I left him like, okay. I was like, so I went and go pump gas, and I hung up the handle and all that, and I start my bike up, and all of a sudden I look up and I see that the Hispanic fellow, and he's talking to his buddy, and they're like kind of looking at me weird and pointing. I'm like, what did I say? I was like, did I say something bad or something? I'm like, okay, whatever. So I go start my bike up, then ready to leave. All of a sudden I felt this tap on my back, like a hand tap, like a full palm tap on my back. And all of a sudden it's that guy that just got married, and it's him and his husband. They walk by, and he goes, yeah, hear that power of that bike, man, have fun. Yeah, listen to that power. I'm like, okay, time for me to get the hell out of here. I'm done. I was like, this is it. I've had dealt with enough for one day. I mean, it's cool that he got married, but man, I was like, I'm tired, man. I was like, this is way too much for me. I can't deal with this anything right now. I gotta go, man. I was like, man, this is what a nutty day. So I was like, okay. I left, and then I went to San Francisco, and then San Francisco had a few weird moments. My next video is San Francisco, and I hated that town. I thought it was beautiful looking, but I just didn't like it, and I'm gonna roast the hell out of it. I'm gonna talk about my few weird moments there, so watch that video next week. So yeah. And then the other weird moment was San Francisco. I'll mention this one, was I went to Bakersfield. So I went to my hotel in Bakersfield, and I go to the hotel lobby, which is separate from the hotel rooms. They're off away from the office. They look like they were old apartment buildings that were converted into hotels. And I asked the lady, like, hey, I got to do laundry. Do you guys have like a washer and dryer here? She goes, no, unfortunately we don't, but there's a cute little laundromat around the corner. I'm like, okay, so I'll go there. So I went to that. I took my stuff to the hotel room, unpacked everything, grabbed my clothes, and put them. I kept them in my luggage bag and strapped in my bike and went to the laundromat. And then as soon as I walked in the laundromat, it looked like a normal laundromat. There's nothing really cute about this place. I'm okay, whatever. But it looked also kind of dumpy, and this is the reason why. So the first washer I opened up, full of Cheetos. There's just Cheetos inside this washer. And you could see the bag, and like a kid just went and dumped a whole bunch of Cheetos in this washer. I'm like, or some weird outed adult. But anyways, I'm like, okay. So I opened up the next one. It was dirty. I'm like, okay. And I opened up the third one. Third time was a charm. I looked around and looked and see if everything was okay. Everything was fine. So then I put my clothes in there, then closed it and start my washer. And I go to sit down. As soon as I sit down, look down on the ground, and I saw a cockroach belly up. I'm like, yep, this place is disgusting. So after my clothes was washed, I threw them in the dryer, and I was like, okay, there's a grocery store next door. Let me go grab sunscreen and stuff like that because I'm getting to like South California. I'm like, let me grab some stuff, maybe some beer for tonight because I'm just gonna relax. So I go to the the laundromat, not the grocery store next door to the laundromat. There's homeless people there. It's California. There's homeless people in the big cities, in any big city, but there's a lot in California. So I go there. I go in the grocery store and start shopping. All of a sudden I hear on the intercom on the PA, "Excuse me, sir, are you going to pay for that candy bar?" I'm like, what the hell? And I kind of look over towards where all the registers are, and there's this homeless man. He's like holding a candy bar. And they're like, "Sir, are you going to pay for that candy bar?" And I'm sitting there looking, intrigued, and all of a sudden I hear, "Sir, if you're not going to pay for that, put that back." And the guy starts walking towards that. He goes, "Sir, do not walk up that candy bar." And he stops, and he's like looking. And it was like a kind of a challenge, like, "You challenging me?" All of a sudden the guy goes on the PAs, "Do not walk out, sir, do not walk out." And then the homeless guy walked out, and he goes, "Sir, come back here." And they just let him go. So there's that. That's what happened. I thought that was pretty hilarious. I'm like, geez, man, what a this whole experience is just weird. Like I said, I don't deal with weirdness every day, and I'm a weird guy, but I just don't deal with weirdness from other people towards me. And I try not to be as weird as possible in some moments. Like, I was like, let me tone down the weirdness. But man, out on the West Coast, man, weirdness to 1,000. So yeah, those are my weird stories. I'm gonna cut it right here. I hope you guys enjoy this video, and if you do enjoy this video, make sure you like it, comment if you can, share it if you can, subscribe, and don't forget to ring that Guardian bell. Guys, we gotta stop those YouTube algorithm gremlins in any way. The likes, the comments, help me out if you can. If you don't like it, go ahead and thumbs me down. But anyways, Skelesteve out.